Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Friday, November 4th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Real quick, a couple of clarification points. Number one, the price you see over here will be moving around, and then the candlestick right there will also be moving around. That's because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, NIO, and we have a very interesting dynamic here going on as I speak. And that dynamic has everything to do with that trend line right there, which I've talked about in past videos. So that'll mean a little bit more to those that have watched past ones. But you can see here that, I mean, a very impressive day when you think about how the price gapped all the way down here, came all the way up here, and then started to get hung up right around this trend line area here. But what's interesting is that, in fact, let me just zoom in here so you can see it a bit better. There we go. But as I speak, like I said, the price is actually slightly above that trend line, which brings up the very valid question, is this the start of a bigger breakout? Now, to be fair, maybe it's not. Maybe this isn't really anything. Maybe this thing just comes right back down because there are no guarantees. But the point here is that's a two-sided coin. So, well, maybe it actually is the start of a breakout, and this thing finally gets that much more continuation in momentum, with the next key battleground being right up there around $10.20. You can see, broadly speaking, last couple times it got up there, struggled. So if this trend line, if the price does continue to get separation from it, 1020, at least in my opinion, is going to be a key level to watch very closely. So watch an eye on that. But overall, yeah, very, very nice recovery from those lows at the beginning. And now it's breaking that trend line. So let's see if it can continue on with a breakout. Next one here, PRVB. And there's a very nice pattern here that I'm not special. There's nothing unique about it. I assure you a lot of people have seen it. And I always say that because when a lot of people are watching the same patterns and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movements. And the pattern here that, in my mind, a lot of people have noticed and have done is they put a trend line like that, and then they've thrown some sort of line across the bottom like that. And let me change that to green to represent more so the support part of things. And then let's just keep it all one color, maybe make it a bit easier to see. So we have our resistance, we have our support. We have the big momentum move up like that and make it a little bit more visual. Let's just put a golf hole down here for you golfers. So this would be known as a bull pennant pattern. So as I mentioned, there are no guarantees, but is it plausible? Is it valid to think that if the price can come back up here and get a break up through that line, that break could cause continued upside buying pressure? That's certainly a plausible outcome that could play out from that dynamic. But if you like stocks down below $10, you like bull pennant patterns, here you go. Next one, MULN, and the downtrend just continues, and a pretty crazy downtrend, all things considered. Oops, let's try that again. There we go. I mean, look how steep that trend line is. I mean, that is a very, very steep, sloped trend line, and yet even now the price isn't even that close to actually testing it. So that's going to be the level that I think a lot of people are watching, and when you hit those levels, like I said, can produce some nice movement. So let me be very clear, though. I'm not saying that if the price comes up here, breaks through that line, then okay, everything's fine, it's going back up to highs. All I'm saying is that from a trading standpoint, I could see if the price breaks through that level, that creating some sort of bounce that could create some valid, day trading type opportunities there if you like to play these stocks that, try to, I don't want to say catch a falling knife, because it's not catching a falling knife if you're waiting for it to first show some signs of strength, which is what you would be doing by waiting for it to break that trend line. But if you do like to play these sorts of scenarios where relatively popular stocks are getting beat down quite a bit, then this would fit that category. In terms of next levels of support, next important level to keep a close eye on, going to be down there right around the 29-cent mark. But yeah, overall, I think the most interesting dynamic is, can the price actually get a break up to that trend line, and will that spur on more people to pick up some shares and potentially cause more upside buying pressure? We'll see what happens. Next one, ROKU. Roku had earnings last night, and the market did not like them, but to give credit where credit's due, after a big gap down, the price did recover very, very nicely. So now at this point, it's really just a question of, is this bounce the start of something much bigger? And I have no idea, but by using charts, we can answer that question very straightforward. And that's where $48 comes into play. Because in my mind, movements with genuine power, if this is the start of something bigger, well, then it's going to keep getting bigger. In other words, the price is going to make progress forward. Not going to go straight up. Nothing can go straight up, but it's at least got to show signs of progress, which prompts the question, well, how are you defining a sign of progress? And that's where $48 comes into play. Because think about this, and I'm not saying it'll occur, but if it comes down there, bounces around, and then heads back up, what would you still have? Well, at least you'd still have a set of lows there. you'd have those there, you'd visualize those as stair steps, and you still have stair steps progressing in the upwards direction. That is a good thing. Whereas on the flip side of things, if the price were to come down there, again, not saying this will occur, but if the price broke down through it, what would you then have? Now all of a sudden you'd have the price having gone essentially right back to where it was. And not to insult your intelligence, but price movements that go back to where they were, not exactly a sign of true power, true strength. So that's why in my mind, $48, very, very important level. In terms of areas of resistance, keep a close eye on first that pink line there, the 200 period moving average at 52.80, and then next that purple line, the 50 period moving average right up there at 54.70. Next one here, AMC, which once again put in new lows that haven't been seen for a very long time. To be fair, it hasn't broken down through these lows down here right around 545, but it's getting closer and closer, and I know it's still a very popular stock, so I'm going to keep things updated here. And to be fair, or maybe you just say to look at the glass as half full, there is a slight uptrend here. Now, I'm not going to say that because that's form that everything's going to turn around and this thing's going back up to, where it was at highs. But, it's much better than having the price just do something like this, right, where it bleeds and bleeds and bleeds and bleeds. It's at least started to go up. So, again, guaranteed bottom? Of course not. Does it become at least, rational to think that, okay, yeah, maybe this is some sort of temporary bottom or maybe a bottom? Yeah, it makes sense given that it started to go sideways. But, that's why risk management is still important. So we want to keep a close eye on that as far as resistances, and then as supports are concerned, right there at 585. And then just from an overall pattern perspective, there's actually, whoops, let's change that color. There we go. There's actually a bear pennant that has formed. But just like if something's a bullish pattern does not mean the price is going to go up. Just because something's a bearish pattern does not mean the price will go down. But I'm just saying that's a reason why be excited because at least it's, not just dropping straight down, but don't get overly excited because there is actually just a bear pennant pattern that's formed. Real quick, wanted to pause and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online training that I'm offering. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen, then I want you to get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description. If you're watching on my site, there's an area right there on the web page that you can click to get signed up. But one note, this is a genuinely live class, and I bring that up because depending on when you watch this, will determine a few things. First, maybe you already have something on your schedule this evening. I understand I have 5 kids. Life gets busy. And you're not going to be able to make it. That's all right. Drop me an email. It will be recorded. I will send you a replay after the event's over and I get it uploaded. Or maybe you're watching this Friday morning and you just completely missed the class. Again, drop me an email and I will gladly send you a link to that replay. So keep that in mind. Now, if you can make it live, then yeah, hopefully I'll be seeing you here in just a few hours. But if not, I understand. Just drop me an email. Next one here, AMZN. And I just want to do something very straightforward, and this will mean maybe a bit more of those of you that watched the video from yesterday, but put this trend line in place, and I just want to continue to watch the trend line because the trend line is still being honored. It's being respected. The price hasn't even really come that close to it, but once again, along the lines of a very popular stock, and I'm not sure they get much more popular than Amazon as a stock, but a very popular stock, a lot of people watching it, guarantees no, but a plausible potential that there could be a self-fulfilling prophecy where the price comes up here, breaks that trend line, and then people just start buying because, oh, look, it's breaking a key trend line. Yeah, I could see that happening, but, just keep that in mind. There's, no for sure that'll occur, but nobody could accuse you of being just random or just, throwing a dart at a board and, picking some sort of random area. So keep an eye on that. If the price does break through that trend line, then the next key level will be that purple line there, 50 period moving average, right now valued at $96. So that's really the main dynamic that I think is worth tracking is that trend line, the trend line, the trend line. When is the price going to test it, and can it break through it? Next one here, CCL, and a nice pattern formed today. But what I'm curious about the pattern, so let me just quickly draw this into play. We have ourselves a nice bull pennant pattern. But what's interesting about it, though, is that even if that bull pennant breaks, then not that far away, you do have this overall trend line here. So you got to be careful of, again, so we have this little trend line right here, which is the formation of this bull pattern. But you just got to be careful that, you buy, all right, it's great, and then it ultimately gets rejected and fails off of that overall trend line. Now, to be fair, this could also be a fantastic leading indicator that this trend line is going to fail, meaning if the price breaks through there, then there's just not a much better, there's a much better possibility that trend line fails and it keeps going. I want to accept that premise. That makes sense to me too. But I'm just saying, don't leverage your entire life's future on this, break right there, because you still do have a pretty big test right there that would need to be watched. So keep that dynamic in mind. But overall, though, it is still a very unique and interesting situation where you have this smaller pattern that could produce and act as a leading indicator to a bigger trend line breakout. Next one here, TSLA Tesla. Watch this one every day. I can't say I trade it every day, but I'm always watching it. And this green line here that I talked about in yesterday's video, I mean the power of charts. Look at how this level played a role in today's video. Are charts perfect? No, but are they a valid tool? Absolutely. So another quick little plug. Get signed up for that training or drop me an email. But the level here that I know I'll be watching, and you got to think a lot of other traders are going to be watching, has everything to do with this green line here at $214.50. I was calling that $215 yesterday, but now that we have more data points, it's looking like $214.50 is going to be the more exact level. So you're going to have longs watching that level thinking, I think the price can bounce. You're going to have shorts watching that level thinking, I think the price is going to fall through there. Both of those have valid thought processes, but that's why risk management matters, because somebody's going to be right, somebody's going to be wrong. If there is any sort of turnaround, then the key level to watch will be that pink line there, the 200 period moving average at 219.36. But yeah, this last 30-minute candle, as I speak, not looking so good and looking like there's a very real possibility that 214.50 gets tested on Friday. Next one here, DBGI for you penny stock players out there. Nice, interesting pattern here that's formed, given the fact that it made a big move up this morning, came back down, and then started to fall. And this is where things get always sketchy, because it's like, okay, it's a penny stock. Is this one of these that's just going to drift into oblivion? What's going to go on right there? That becomes a very valid question. But got the answer. No, it didn't drift into oblivion. It actually leveled off and is now, as I speak, last 30 minutes, trying to make a move back upwards, which brings about, and which, like I said, creates an interesting pattern with the key breakout area right up there around the 9-cent mark. So 9 cents, going to be a level where, as I've said and will continue to say, no guarantees, but is it plausible, is it valid to think that if the price can recover up to $9 and then get the break up through it, that break could, realistically get this thing back up to 10 cents and who knows, maybe even more. In my mind, that is a very realistic situation, especially when you also factor in that overall, factoring in more than just one day, you do still also have an overall uptrend that is continuing to form, which makes this that much more interesting. So if you like to play penny stocks, here you go. Next one here, TQQQ, which is an ETF, most popular ETF out there, always leads the market in total volume, but it's a way for you to make money if you think that the NASDAQ market as a whole is going to rise in value, and it just allows you entry at a cheaper price point. But yeah, then QQQ, the NASDAQ had another rough day today, hence this one having a rough day, and this will mean a bit more to those of you that watched yesterday's video, but we have a classic example here of a support once broken, turning into resistance. So with the big gap down today, you can see the price multiple times bounce up and just can never build or maintain any sort of momentum after it would get up to that level at 1775. So 1775 remains that key area of resistance now if there is any sort of turnaround. But like I said, as I speak, and this is why I like to do these when the market's still open, we are now officially basically at lows here as I speak. And it's a question of, is this low right here going to hold from earlier on in the day, which was down there at the 1704 mark. And 1704 will be that main area of support for no fancy reasoning other than the fact that was just simply where the price stopped, going down earlier on in the day. But as of now, and as I speak, you can see price is getting very, very close to testing it. So we'll see what happens with it. But yeah, if there is any sort of bounce back to the upside, 1775 will be that main area of resistance. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to get signed up for the training, then definitely go ahead and do that, or drop me an email to clay@claytrader.com. Again, that is clay@claytrader.com. Forgot to put it up on the screen there, but there you have it. But again, if you can make it live, then definitely get signed up, and hopefully I'll see you here in a few hours. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoy these top 10s, hit that like button, leave a simple comment below. Thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good one.